The Galactic Council's grand arena was full. Thousands of alien leaders sat in their shining chairs, looking down at the center stage. Lights flashed. Drums boomed. Today was a big day. Today, they would show the most terrifying creature in the galaxy, the Vornak beast. The announcer, a thin alien with silver skin, stepped forward. "Ladies and leaders of the galaxy," he shouted, "behold the strongest, wildest predator ever captured by any world, the mighty Vornak." The doors at the center of the arena opened with a loud, heavy creak. Thick smoke rolled out. From the smoke, a huge shadow appeared. The Vornak was 10 meters tall, with black armored skin, claws like swords, and glowing yellow eyes. It roared so loud that the walls shook. Some aliens screamed and covered their ears. Soldiers stood all around the arena with heavy weapons, ready to shoot if needed. Even machines were shaking. No one trusted the Vornak. It had destroyed entire cities before. It had eaten the strongest warriors of the Shalak race. Some called it the end of worlds. The council members smiled proudly. They wanted to show that the Galactic Council was powerful enough to control even death itself. The Vornak growled and pulled at the chains around its neck. The thick energy ropes sparked and sizzled, barely holding the monster back. No alien dared go near it. Except one. From the back of the crowd, a young human named Alex Carter stood up. He wore simple clothes, just a jacket, boots, and a cap. No armor, no weapons, just a calm look on his face. The aliens turned their heads, confused. "Who is that?" Someone whispered. "A human? What is he doing?" Another said. Alex walked down the steps slowly. His boots clicked against the polished floor. He smiled at the beast. The soldiers shouted warnings. The announcer screamed for him to stop. But Alex didn't listen. He just kept walking, his hands open, showing he meant no harm. The Vornak roared again, louder this time. It bared its teeth, each one as long as a sword. The soldiers raised their guns. Alex stopped a few meters away. He crouched down low, making himself small, not a threat. He held out his hand and whistled softly. The arena went silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. The Vornak tilted its head, confused. No one had ever acted like this before. It sniffed the air. It took one heavy step forward. The soldiers' fingers tightened on their triggers. Another step. Alex stayed still. His heart pounded in his chest, but he showed no fear. The Vornak leaned down. It sniffed Alex's hand. Then, slowly, it lowered its huge head. Alex gently placed his hand on the beast's nose. A sound no one expected filled the air. A deep, rumbling purr. The Vornak, the killer of worlds, was purring. The soldiers dropped their guns in shock. The council members jumped from their seats. The announcer forgot his lines. Aliens gasped. Some even fainted. Alex smiled and rubbed the Vornak's head, just like someone would pet a dog. "Good boy," he said softly. The Vornak closed its deadly eyes and leaned into Alex's hand, happy like a giant house cat. Panic broke out in the arena. "Security! Remove the human. Seal the beast." How is this possible? Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. Soldiers ran toward Alex, unsure if they should save him or attack him. Alex looked up calmly and said one thing. "Relax. On Earth, we have scarier pets." The council leaders stared at each other, fear growing in their eyes. If a human could tame a monster like the Vornak, what else could humans control? What kind of world was Earth really? For years, the council had thought of humans as small, weak creatures, useful for trade, maybe smart enough for machines, but not dangerous. Not like this. They were wrong. The Vornak, once the galaxy's nightmare, now sat beside Alex like a loyal guard. It growled at anyone who came too close, protecting its new human friend. The council members whispered urgently among themselves. Some wanted to arrest Alex immediately. Some wanted to study him. Some even wanted to destroy Earth before it was too late. One counselor, an old and wise being named Varkesh, spoke above the noise. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we have underestimated humanity greatly." Meanwhile, Alex sat on the floor, still petting the massive beast. He whistled a small Earth song, the same one he used to call his dog back home. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time in a long time, the galaxy was afraid. The council hall was in chaos. Alarms flashed red. Soldiers shouted orders. Leaders argued loudly in dozens of different alien languages. And in the middle of all this madness, Alex Carter, a simple human, sat calmly, petting the giant Vornak beast like it was a pet dog. "How can this be?" shouted Counselor Varen, his tentacles waving in panic. "He must have used some trick," cried another. But no scanner found any hidden device. No chemical sprays. No mind control tech. Nothing. It was just Alex and the beast. The High Commander of Security, a tall insect-like creature named Xeltor, stepped forward. His body armor glowed blue as he activated his command voice. "Human, by order of the Galactic Council, you are under arrest for interfering with a high-security event." Alex stood up slowly. The Vornak growled low, a sound like mountains rumbling. The soldiers raised their weapons again, hands shaking. Alex raised his hands peacefully. "I'm not here to fight," he said in a clear voice. "I just wanted to say hello." The council members were too stunned to reply. Finally, Councillor Varkesh spoke, his voice calm but serious. "Human, you must explain yourself. How is it possible that you, a small creature by galactic standards, tamed the Vornak beast?" Alex smiled and shrugged. "On Earth, we have scarier creatures than this. Big ones, fast ones, smarter ones, and we've lived with them for thousands of years." Whispers filled the hall. "Scarier than a Vornak? Impossible. They must be lying." Varkesh leaned forward. "Prove it," he said. Alex pulled a small hologram projector from his pocket. He pressed a button. Images filled the air, giant lions roaring on open grasslands, great white sharks leaping from oceans, bears tearing through forests, wolves running in packs under a full moon. Gasps filled the hall. Some aliens backed away from the images, as if the animals could jump out and attack them. "This," Alex said, "is a lion. We call it the king of the jungle." Another image showed a tiger swimming through a river, strong and graceful. "This is a tiger. Very powerful, very fast." Next came a crocodile snapping its huge jaws. "And this one can crush a spaceship door with its bite." The council members looked at each other, fear growing with every new image. And Alex continued, "These are only the animals we know. There are thousands more. Some small, some big, some poisonous, some that hunt in groups. We live beside them. Some of us even keep them as pets." Councillor Xeltor trembled slightly. "You mean to say, you humans live on a death world?" Alex chuckled. "That's one way to put it. We just call it home." The council called for an emergency meeting. For the first time in history, they shut out all lower races and met only with the high members. Inside the secret meeting room, the leaders argued. "If humans can tame creatures deadlier than Vornaks," said Councillor Mava, "then Earth could become the most powerful planet in the galaxy. We should destroy them now," hissed Xeltor, "before they grow stronger. Or maybe," said Varkesh thoughtfully, "we should make them our allies." The debate grew hotter. Some shouted for war, others for peace. Some suggested spying on humans to learn their secrets. Meanwhile, back in the arena, Alex sat on the floor. The Vornak curled around him protectively, its eyes watching everyone who came close. A small alien child walked up to Alex, holding out a glowing candy. She was shaking but brave. Alex smiled warmly and accepted it, giving a small piece to the Vornak. The huge beast sniffed the candy, licked it once, and let out a happy grunt. The audience gasped again. Even the children of other worlds could see. Humans had a special power. Not just strength, not just weapons, but a natural bond with creatures others only feared. At the end of the emergency meeting, the council came to a decision. They would investigate Earth further, quietly and carefully. They needed to know exactly what humanity was hiding. As Alex left the arena with the Vornak following closely, a shadowy figure washed from the rafters, a spy from the Drexian Claw, a radical group who believed in ruling by fear. The spy spoke into a small device. The human is more dangerous than we thought. Prepare the extraction team. We must capture him. At any cost. Far away, on a small blue planet named Earth, governments and secret agencies were already receiving strange signals. The galaxy had noticed them. And soon, humanity would have to decide, fight, hide, or show the universe why Earth was a world no one should ever threaten. The galaxy buzzed with whispers of Alex and the Vornak. News traveled faster than light, spreading through every corner of the known universe. Some saw the human as a threat, others as a mystery to unravel. But no one understood the real danger yet. No one had figured out why Alex had done it, why he had tamed the galaxy's most terrifying predator. Back on Earth, the news was just beginning to reach the government. Hidden away in a high-security facility, a group of humans in dark suits watched the footage from the Galactic Council arena. Their faces were serious. How did he do it? One of them asked, tapping his fingers on the desk. How did he control the Vornak? That's what we need to find out, another said. We can't let the galaxy discover too much. Meanwhile, Alex was still on the Galactic Council's homeworld, trying to figure out how everything had turned upside down so fast. The Vornak was now being kept in a special pen nearby, under heavy guard. Alex had been invited to stay in the council's guest quarters, but it didn't feel like a warm welcome. They were watching him closely, waiting for him to slip up. In a small meeting room, the High Council members gathered again. Varkesh was there, along with the others. They all stared at a new report on the table. It's confirmed, Varkesh said, his voice heavy. Humanity has been hiding something. Councillor Zeltor shifted uncomfortably in his seat. What do you mean by hiding something? Humans are not what they appear to be, Varkesh continued. We've been sending spies to Earth for centuries. We thought they were just primitive, weak. But they've been learning from us. What kind of learning? Asked Mava, her sharp eyes narrowing. Advanced technologies, biological enhancements, unknown abilities. And we've missed it all. Impossible. Seltor hissed. They couldn't have developed such things without our help. Varkesh paused, looking at the other leaders. You need to understand. Earth's history is full of wars, survival, and evolution. They've been facing dangers and overcoming them, alone. They adapt, faster than we ever realized. Zeltor shook his head in disbelief. So you're saying we've underestimated them? That a simple creature like Alex Carter has more secrets than we can imagine? Yes, Varkesh said firmly. And now they've sent one of their strongest agents to our doorstep. Far from the council, in a dark corner of the galaxy, a group of Drexian Claw spies were monitoring the situation closely. These aliens, known for their cruelty, had always believed that ruling through fear was the key to success. Now they saw the humans as a rising threat, and they wanted to control it before it got out of hand. The leader of the Drexian Claw, a cold-eyed alien named Zarnak, watched the screen. He smiled darkly. Prepare the attack. We will take Alex Carter. The humans will bow to us, or we will destroy them. Back on the Council's planet, Alex was in his quarters, staring out of the window at the stars. He had come a long way from being just a normal man from Earth, but something about all this power felt wrong. He had been contacted by an alien named Kara, a member of the Council who had been watching him since he arrived. Kara had helped him understand some of the galaxy's strange politics. She was quiet but curious about humans. "Kara," Alex said suddenly, turning to face her. "I need to know something. Why do they fear us so much?" Kara paused, her face unreadable. "Because we're unpredictable," she answered. "The galaxy is used to controlling everything. Every species, every planet, every star system. But humans, you don't fit into their plans. You don't just survive, you fight. You adapt. And now you've shown them that you can tame the galaxy's most terrifying creatures. They don't know what you'll do next." Alex thought for a moment. "So, they think we're dangerous." "Yes," Kara said, her voice soft. "And they are right to be afraid. But they're also curious. They want to know how you did it, why you did it, but they don't fully understand yet." Alex's mind raced. What if they found out more about Earth? About humans? What if they started to see his species as something more than just a curiosity? Something more dangerous? Meanwhile, on Earth, military leaders had already begun to notice strange signals coming from space. The government's top scientists were working nonstop to analyze the signals. They didn't know what it meant, but one thing was clear. Something big was happening out there. And it had everything to do with Alex. In a hidden lab deep beneath the Earth's surface, a scientist named Dr. Emily Blake stood in front of a giant screen. "The galaxy's eyes are on us," she muttered. "But they don't know what we can do. Not yet." She turned to the others in the lab. "We have to be ready. Whatever happens next, we must protect our home." The signal grew stronger, sending a warning through the galaxy. Earth was now in the spotlight, and it wasn't about to go away. Back on the Council's homeworld, Alex received another message, this time from a mysterious source. The message was simple but chilling. "The Drexian Claw is coming. They will not stop until they have you." The warning came in the dead of night, flashing on screens in every corner of the galaxy. The Drexian Claw was on the move, and they were coming for Alex. Back in the Galactic Council's headquarters, the atmosphere had changed. There was no more curiosity, no more whispers of peace. Now it was a matter of survival. Alex stared at the message in shock. "The Drexian Claw is coming. They will not stop until they have you." He turned to Kara, who was standing beside him. Her face was pale, her usually calm eyes filled with concern. "The Drexian Claw?" Alex asked, trying to stay calm. "Who are they? What do they want with me?" Kara took a deep breath, her fingers tapping nervously on the table. "The Drexian Claw are one of the most dangerous factions in the galaxy. They are ruthless, cruel, and they believe in ruling through fear. They've been hunting down species they see as a threat for centuries. And now, they've set their sights on you." Alex clenched his fists. "I didn't ask for this. I didn't choose any of this. Why me?" Kara shook her head. "It's not about you, Alex. It's about Earth. And now that you've made an impression, they will stop at nothing to control what they see as a dangerous species." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. The entire building shook as a loud, deafening sound filled the air. "They're here," Kara whispered, her voice full of fear. "The Drexian Claw has arrived." At that very moment, in a distant corner of the galaxy, Zarnak, the leader of the Drexian Claw, smiled coldly as his fleet of battle-ready ships emerged from the darkness. His sharp eyes glinted with anticipation. "Prepare the extraction team," Zarnak ordered, his voice smooth and calm despite the chaos. "We're going to take Alex Carter alive. And then, we will make Earth our new base of power." The Drexian fleet moved quickly, its ships faster and more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. They had one goal: capture Alex, and anyone who got in their way would be destroyed. Back at the Council headquarters, the panic had already begun. Soldiers rushed down the halls, preparing for battle. High Council members gathered in a secure room, debating what to do next. "Should we fight back?" Seltor, the insect-like soldier, growled. We can send our fleets to destroy them before they reach the planet. Varkesh shook his head. No, the Drexian claw is too powerful. If we engage them, we risk everything. The room fell silent. Every member of the council knew that if they angered the Drexians, it could spark a war that would tear apart the galaxy. We must protect Alex, Varkesh continued. But we can't let the Drexian claw have him. If they control him, they control everything he represents. The galaxy would fall into chaos. Meanwhile, Alex and Kara had already begun making their way to the emergency escape pods. There was no time to waste. They had to leave the station before the Drexian claw reached them. As they ran down the long metallic halls, Alex couldn't help but wonder why all this was happening. Why had the galaxy suddenly turned its attention on him and Earth? What had he triggered? He looked over at Kara, who was leading the way. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you warn me about the Drexian claw? Kara glanced back, her expression unreadable. I didn't want to scare you. You needed to see things for yourself. But now you know how dangerous this is. They reached the escape pods just as the first Drexian ships began to break through the outer defenses of the Council's headquarters. A massive blast shook the building, sending a shockwave that rattled the walls. We don't have much time, Kara said urgently, pushing Alex into one of the pods. Get inside. We'll have to fight our way out. Alex hesitated for a moment. What about the Vornak? We can't just leave it behind. Kara gave him a hard look. The Vornak is safe for now. It won't be able to help you once the Drexian claw finds us. You have to focus on surviving. Reluctantly, Alex nodded and climbed into the pod. Kara followed, sealing the door behind them. The pod launched into the cold vacuum of space, racing away from the station. Alex looked out the small window, watching the Council headquarters shrink into the distance. Behind them, the Drexian fleet was closing in. Back on Earth, Dr. Emily Blake stood in front of a massive control panel, staring at the flashing lights and incoming messages. The government had received urgent transmissions from the Galactic Council. They knew the Drexian claw was coming, and now they had to make a choice. Protect Alex or prepare for an all-out war with a ruthless faction of space marauders. The president's voice crackled through the comm system. Prepare our defense systems. This is not just about Alex anymore. We are at war. As Alex and Kara watched from the escape pod, they knew this was only the beginning. The Drexian claw was hunting them. The galaxy was on edge. And soon, Earth would be thrust into the fight of its life. But Alex wasn't scared anymore. He had survived everything thrown at him so far. Now he would fight for his world, for his people, and for the truth behind the mysterious bond he shared with the Vornak. The escape pod shot through the void, racing away from the Galactic Council's headquarters. Inside, Alex and Kara were strapped in tight, but neither could fully relax. The Drexian claw fleet was out there, hunting them down, and the pressure was mounting with every passing second. We have to get to Earth, Alex said, his voice tight with determination. If we can make it there, we'll have a chance to regroup. We can warn them, get everyone ready. Kara nodded, her face grim. It's not going to be easy. The Drexians will follow us, and they'll stop at nothing to capture you. They'll want to know everything about Earth. Alex clenched his fists. Let them come. I'm not running anymore. Suddenly, the pod's alarm blared, warning of incoming fire. Kara's hands flew over the controls, twisting knobs and pulling levers to avoid the shots. A loud explosion rocked the pod as they barely managed to dodge a burst of energy. They're already on our tail, Kara said, her voice low and urgent. Hold on. The pod rocked again, spinning violently as Kara twisted the controls. Alex gritted his teeth and held on. The Drexians were closing in, their ships faster and more advanced than anything he had ever seen. But there was one thing they didn't know. Alex wasn't just an ordinary human anymore. As the Drexian ships surrounded them, Alex took a deep breath. His mind flashed back to the Vornak, to the bond they had formed. He had tamed the most terrifying predator in the galaxy, and now he needed its power. He closed his eyes and focused, reaching out through the strange connection he had felt with the Vornak ever since the battle on the Council's homeworld. He felt the beast's presence, its raw energy, its fierce will. "Come on," Alex whispered. "Help me now." Back at the Galactic Council's headquarters, the leaders were still in chaos. Varkesh, the Council's most powerful member, was pacing in the war room, watching the screens as the Drexian fleet pursued Alex and Kara's pod. "They're not wasting any time," Seltor growled, his many eyes scanning the data. "The Drexians are closing in fast. They'll catch them if we don't do something." "We need to contact Earth," Mava said urgently. "We need to warn them. Alex is humanity's best chance, but he can't do this alone." Varkesh nodded. "The Drexian Claw doesn't care about our diplomacy. They only understand power. If we don't act now, they'll capture Alex and make an example of him. And then Earth will be next." Meanwhile, aboard one of the Drexian ships, Zarnak watched as his fleet closed in on Alex's escape pod. His eyes glinted with cold satisfaction. "Prepare the boarding teams," he ordered. "We're taking them alive. No more games." The Drexian ships opened fire again, blasting Alex's pod with wave after wave of energy. The pod shuddered violently, and for a moment, it seemed like they wouldn't make it. But then, the impossible happened. Alex opened his eyes, feeling a surge of power that took him by surprise. His body seemed to hum with energy, as though he were linked to something far greater than himself. The connection with the Vornak was stronger now, more intense than ever before. He raised his hand, almost instinctively, and to his astonishment, the pod's energy shields flared to life with a brilliant glow. The Drexian blasts were deflected, bouncing harmlessly off the shields. Alex felt an unspoken roar of power rising inside him, as if the Vornak itself was lending its strength to him. "Not today," Alex muttered, pushing the pod's speed to its limits. The pod rocketed forward, dodging incoming fire with newfound agility. Kara's eyes widened as she watched the display. "Alex, what are you doing?" "How?" "I don't know," Alex said, his voice steady but filled with awe. "But I think the Vornak's power is still with me. It's like it's giving me strength." The Drexian ships tried to close in, but Alex's pod was moving faster than they could react. The Drexians fired their weapons once more, but every blast bounced off the shield like a harmless spark. "This isn't possible," Zarnak muttered in disbelief, watching as Alex's pod sped away, leaving the Drexian fleet behind. His fleet wasn't designed to deal with anything like this. But Alex wasn't done yet. He turned the controls sharply, pushing the pod into a high-speed dive toward the nearest Drexian ship. With a precise movement, Alex directed a burst of energy from the pod's weapons, striking one of the Drexian ships and sending it spiraling out of control. "We're going to make it," Alex said, his voice filled with determination. "This ends now." Back on Earth, the government was preparing for the worst. Dr. Emily Blake stood in front of a large screen, staring at the incoming signals. The Drexian Claw was relentless, and Earth's defenses weren't ready for such an attack. But as the signals from the Council came in, she knew something was changing. "They don't know what they've unleashed," she whispered, a mixture of fear and excitement in her eyes. "We're not alone in this fight." On the edge of space, Alex's pod was finally in the clear. The Drexian fleet, unable to keep up with his newfound speed and strength, began to fall back. For the first time since this all began, Alex allowed himself to relax. They had survived. But the war was far from over. The real fight was just beginning. As the escape pod sped toward Earth, Alex knew that everything was about to change. The Drexian Claw wouldn't give up so easily, but now he had the power to fight back. And with Earth's future hanging in the balance, Alex was ready to take on whatever came next.